Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering police firing woke DEI officer at the police department to restore lawfulness. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from the Daily Mail, Philadelphia Police Department fires its first ever diversity, equity, and inclusion officer just hours before a new commissioner and mayor take office, promising to restore lawfulness. Philadelphia is absolutely out of control. It really is lawless. The videos from Philadelphia show people wandering around on drugs like zombies from The Walking Dead. And that's not the worst of it. The violence, the crime. But with a new mayor, maybe they can do something. But they can't get things done unless they get the troublemakers out of the way. And that's this woman. When she was hired, they made this announcement. Please join me in welcoming Philly Police's first Chief Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Officer, Ms. Leslie Marant. Ms. Marant's position and office have been established to oversee diversity and inclusion efforts at every level in our organization, a lifelong Philadelphian. And the comments are pretty severe from GOP Congress. Those 20 mothers of black kids, they capitalize the B, slaughtered on your streets, all by black suspects, they capitalize the B again, correcting themselves. This past weekend, appreciate your efforts to shield them from white supremacists. Melva says hopeless. Mr. Rogers puts on a clown mask with a comment, 50 shootings over the weekend. Hazard says, what's the diversity of 50+ people shot over Easter weekend? From the Daily Mail, the then acting Police Commissioner John Stanford terminated DEI officer Leslie Marant, who commenced her role in April 2022 at a meeting Tuesday morning. Marant was informed by Stanford that her services were no longer required under the restructuring led by the incoming commissioner, Bethel. The exact reasons for Marant's dismissal with a base salary of over $170,000 was not disclosed, and the department has yet to provide further details. Despite Marant's departure, the DEI position will remain vacant as the department plans a national search for her successor, citing common organizational restructuring under new leadership. So they're going to hold the position open. I'm not sure what she can't do that someone else could be doing, but perhaps they just don't fill the position to include someone new. Of course, diversity, equity, and inclusion does not help public safety, and Philadelphia needs a lot of help with public safety. Quote, under new leadership, restructuring and realignment of an organization is common, said Sergeant Eric Grip to the Philadelphia Inquirer. This came just hours before Democrat Sherelle Parker, who became the city's first black and female mayor, signed an executive order declaring a public safety emergency. Quote, I want the world to know that I am fully committed to ending this sense of lawlessness and bringing order back to our city and a sense of lawfulness, she said in a recent speech. She promised on the campaign trail to hire 300 more police officers, including community officers, and restore constitutional stop and frisk. She also put forth the idea of making school year-round to reduce juvenile delinquency. Her plans will include increasing the number of police officers on the streets with a focus on community policing, a policy she championed when on the city council. Parker said that her public safety emergency will expeditiously get every available resource into neighborhoods struggling with the scourges of crime, gun violence, drugs, and addiction. She said her new police commissioner, Bethel, has been tasked with creating plans for those crises and for quality of life crimes, including car theft, shoplifting, and illegal ATV use. Philadelphia has seen rampant crime in recent years, with violent offenses like robberies and aggravated assaults with guns rising above pre-pandemic levels. Just yesterday, a Philadelphia man was pushed onto the subway tracks and fatally struck by an oncoming train just days after the city's new mayor vowed to crack down on crime. The man was fighting with another man on the SEPTA platform around 4:30 p.m. on Thursday when tragedy struck at the 34th Street station. Bystander video footage caught the tragic moment unfold as one of the men punched the other, sending him stumbling onto the tracks. Just moments later, a SEPTA train on the Market Frankford line arrived at the platform and killed the man. A SEPTA spokesperson confirmed that the man throwing punches in the video has been taken into custody, but it remains unclear whether he'll be facing charges. You've got to charge the guy with something. I mean, at least like public fighting or something like that. I mean, he just killed someone by knocking them in front of a train. Hopefully he at least feels guilty. This is completely out of control. The person killed is yet to be identified, but a user on Twitter claims that both of the two men involved are known to SEPTA police. Retired Sergeant Mark Fusetti said on Twitter, these two men are known to SEPTA police. They are homeless and live in the subways. They're called by SEPTA destination-less riders, infinitely traveling the trains. Do not fight in front of trains. I think that's the big takeaway here. Quote, they take the EL and subway all day and night. They use the trains as toilets and beds. This is another crime that could have been prevented if SEPTA didn't allow them to live in their trains. The mayor is taking over a city where violent crime is declining. Homicides are down now more than 20% year on year, and non-fatal shootings are down 28%. But Philadelphia in 2020 and 2021 had the grim reputation as one of America's most dangerous cities, with more than 500 murders each year, significantly more than New York, which is 5 times as large. And theft in Philadelphia is rocketing, with reported vehicle theft up 72%. Retail theft is also soaring and has risen 28% in the last year. What happens with diversity, equity, and inclusion, because it's not actually productive, it gets in the way of whatever resources a company or organization has. It's not that surprising if they are really desperate to turn things around in Philadelphia that they would get rid of someone whose job it is to essentially create friction, trouble, and demoralize the organization the way that diversity, equity, and inclusion does. At companies, they're also starting to get away from diversity, equity, and inclusion. From Axios, companies are backing away from DEI. Goals like achieving equity and diversity and making people feel included have become weaponized terms, and now corporate America is navigating the minefield. The year ahead will be pivotal for corporate diversity efforts, as attacks against DEI will absolutely intensify. But for many employers, maintaining a diverse workforce where employees feel included is part of attracting and retaining workers, particularly in a tight labor market. It's always difficult to find great people. It's actually easy to find terrible people. I hire people. When I want to go out and hire people, I always get tons of resumes for any position that I put out. But just because people respond with a resume, it doesn't mean those people are good. Just because those people are willing to take a job, it doesn't mean you can retain the person, because they may not even show up consistently. So trying to make people feel welcome, while it sounds nice, and of course you're not going to try to run people off if you're going to hire them and bring them into your company, is not a serious goal. Talent goes where talent is appreciated. Just because you're a certain skin color, it doesn't make you talented. For years, DEI was criticized for being ineffective corporate window dressing or for being counterproductive, which it is and it is. But more recently, conservative politicians and pundits have made DEI a target, with new laws limiting its practice cropping up in Florida and Texas. Ousted Harvard President Claudine Gay's commitment to DEI was part of the reason she faced such strong criticism. DEI funding and staffing flailed last year after a 2-year boom in the wake of protests over the death of George Floyd. And the reason why DEI funding and staffing has been cut back so much is because it's become clear, without question, it's a complete waste of resources. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court's decision last year overturning the use of affirmative action in universities has drawn attention to corporate diversity efforts. Businesses are trying to avoid any programs that could draw legal scrutiny. Any kinds of goals around hiring particular demographic groups are increasingly frowned upon. And those programs are frowned upon because lawsuits are coming through and the practices are completely illegal on their face. You can't decide you want to hire more women or more men or people of a certain gender or sexual preference and discriminate against qualified applicants. It's not legal. It's not permitted in this country. People do it, but they're doing it less and less because companies are getting caught and they're getting called out on it. Anything that smacks of a quota is out, said Diana Scott, Human Capital Center leader at the Conference Board. At the same time, many business leaders say they're still committed to diversity. In a survey of chief human resource officers conducted by the Conference Board, 0 respondents said they were planning on scaling back DEI in 2024. But they all have scaled back DEI. If you can't publish your quotas, If you can't tell your human resources people, we need to maintain this quota, we need to maintain that quota, and not hire people of this skin color, which they aren't doing much anymore, then of course it's destroying these programs. This means the way that diversity, equity, and inclusion is happening inside companies is changing. Some companies like Blackstone are focusing on hiring for socioeconomic diversity and on changing job requirements to find more diverse talent without targeting a specific race or ethnicity. Businesses are pulling back from the DEI term. The focus is moving away from those three words towards efforts around well-being and inclusion, said Scott from the conference board. Companies are really starting to look at other ways to do the work without saying that they're doing the work, said Cinnamon Clark, co-founder of Good Work Sustainability, a DEI consulting firm. These DEI consulting firms are also seeing a lot less business. Did a story about a week ago where Google is cutting back as much as 90% on their outside DEI firms. They're not spending the money they used to spend, which means these programs are not going forward. Businesses will likely be talking more about employee experience or wellness, which falls under the inclusion bucket, said Clark. DEI proponents are optimistic that employers can still foster diverse and inclusive workforces in this environment, but it's a tough case to make. Quote, it's hard to imagine with the amped up rhetoric of an election year that people really want to stick their neck out more, said Kevin Delaney, co-founder of Charter, a future of work media and research company. He thinks responsibility for these efforts will fall down the ladder to frontline managers. The danger is that DEI becomes so watered down that you can't actually do the work, said Sean Edmund Rogers, Dean of the College of Business at the University of Rhode Island and its former Chief Diversity Officer. Cutbacks in DEI could lead to a decline in diversity in organizations, and at the same time, an increase in merit in organizations. A merit-based organization will always be a diversity-based organization. One recent study found that companies with DEI teams supposedly make more diverse hires and have higher levels of employee morale. But of course, they don't make money. It all eventually comes down to money, and when the money's not there, companies cut out the nonsense. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.